Today on the Yankee Prepper channel, I'm going to show you how to make this awesome motorcycle rack just using my wits. A couple 8-foot sticks of 1/2-inch conduit, a post connector, and a couple beers. I found a rack online that I really liked for the TW200. In this case, it was a product from Cycle Racks. And I just used the dimensions for that to mark off on my conduit. I used my regular pipe bender to shape my rack. Just marked it off where I wanted to bend. Put the pipe in, and then put the pressure on. What was important to me concerning the dimensions is that it clears the sides, because I want to put some metal boxes or panniers on the side. So I've cut my braces out, and it's 18 inches wide. That'll match the one that Cycle Racks makes, but mine is a little longer. I wanted a little extra length out the back. It actually goes right over the back tail light, so it's 14 inches long. I use my angle grinder to cut it out to match the pipe. Now I've measured this out, you know, because I want to be as accurate as possible, but a lot of this kind of work takes eyeballing. Eyeballing skills are really important whenever you're fabricating something, and eyeballing skills you have to work for. They're acquired, and it's best to start as young as possible. Eyeballing skill training usually starts when you're young. It starts when you're eyeballing whether you can jump over the creek or not, or whether you can jump from one rooftop to the other rooftop. I'm going to fabricate a bracket that attaches under the seat to the frame itself, and I'll weld it on here. Now I have all kinds of pieces of scrap metal in my garage. My garage kind of looks like that trash room in the first Star Wars where Han Solo and Chewbacca and Luke Skywalker rescue the princess and they get trapped down there with that one-eyed snake monster. Well, that's kind of what my garage looks like for scrap metal. But in this case, I was walking around Menards and I found a post bracket that just happens to be perfect with a little modification to attach this rack to the frame. So that's what I'm going to use. This cost me like, I think, under $4. And then I'm going to weld the rack onto that bracket once I figure out what angle I want that to shoot off the back. I've got pretty much the angle that I want the rack to shoot off the back on, and I'm going to start bending the bars right here, and I'm going to do that by hand. So I'll back this bracket up against a straight edge here, and I'll just slowly push down on this ever so slightly, a little bit at a time on both sides to get it even, and then test it out against the bike. Once again, our intrepid hero has used his superior eyeballing skills to follow the angle of the bike down, duplicating the process on both sides. Now, I'm going to mark a point here somewhere, and then measure it off, do the same thing on the other side, and bend the bar down here, because this is going to be my connection point, and I'm going to slightly angle it in. I know it's hard to believe, but this is the first time I've ever done this, and I'm just making all this shit up as I go. So that was my first bend. What do you think? Is that right on the mark? I think I'm going to go with that. Still got room for the passenger leg. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, I've got both of them marked off where I'm going to attach them to the frame. Now I'm going to cut the excess off and make the attachment points. Ta-da! Now I'm going to carefully flatten the ends about 1 inch up using my hammer and trusty stump. Try to make it as neat as possible. Now I'll weld these ends up. So I cleaned up those anchor points nice. Now I'm going to drill them out. Then we'll bolt it in. This took me about 1.5 hours of screwing around, maybe a couple beers, $4 worth of conduit. Let's throw some paint on this now. So I picked out a paint to cover the rack, and I didn't want anything that was textured. Let's say like the truck bed coating. I didn't want anything in it with grit or texture because I don't want it to rub through anything that I would happen to be carrying, like packages to the post office or a rubberized waterproof pack when I'm camping or hunting. And that's why I picked out this Rust-Oleum hammered paint in black color. And even though I did spend a little time grinding out the welds to make them smooth, I didn't have to work that hard because the hammered paint tends to really cover up any imperfections. This project turned out super good. This is really going to work for me. And I was able to make it for my needs. Like a lot of them have a small bar hump on the back. I didn't want that because I want to be able to put, you know, as big of an object on the back as that I possibly can or choose to. And I've seen other ones where they have another little bar that's welded in here, and I didn't want that either. It's plenty strong the way it is, and I think what I'm going to do is put some grips here that the passenger can using the same technique that I built the rear one with, and put a small one on the front. I probably won't do a video about that because it's basically the same thing, just in a smaller version. However, the next step will be putting on some panniers on the side. I want some lockable boxes that I can put on both sides. I've got something in mind that I've already thought through. I'm using ammo boxes, so I'll probably make a video on that when the time comes. But for right now, I'm just going to really enjoy this. And yes, I did add a tool tube. I'll probably do a video about that later. It'll be a quick one. It's pretty easy to do, but it's really nice to have a waterproof compartment on the side for your tools or whatever else electronics that you want to put in there. And it's pretty easy and cheap to do. Again, less than 10 bucks if you make it yourself. With a rack this size that can hold this much weight, I can easily strap on a waterproof sea-line bag, a large one, enough to go for a week or two into the bush. Pretty nice. You know, of course, the end point to this, and the reason why I put up these vids, is to show you how these skills pay off long term throughout your whole life. You know, I have the $200 to buy. That doesn't take a lot of skill. I have the $200 to buy this rack and the $30 or $40 it would have cost in shipping it here. But by making it myself, I was able to save that money, and that money represents my time. And time is one thing I can't make more of. I can always make more money, but I can't make more time. That's where these skills really save you. They save your time. They give you more of a quality life. I'm able to be here at home with my kids and family rather than out running on the treadmill. And I'm telling you, I give you my word, that's what really makes a man rich, is his time. And you know what? Society, or our culture, as dumbed down as it is and as brainwashed as it is, it still recognizes that. That's why all these sitcoms and shows of guys, reality shows of guys creating stuff are so popular, because even in the dim room that our culture lives in, they still recognize the guy that's able to create is so valuable. The guy that's able to do it himself, that is self-sufficient, they still respect that as valuable. Even over the brainwashing that we get that, oh, I can just go out and buy this. I'm a consumer. I'll just go out and buy it, whatever I need. Being able to do it yourself is still recognized as being more valuable. That's it. The end.